evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 City Council meeting for the City of Oldsmar. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The first item on our agenda is our invocation and pledge of allegiance to the flag, which will be led by our City Attorney, Mr. Tom Trask. Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, help us to carry out our tasks necessary for us to fulfill our purpose. Help us to stay on track so that we may let this meeting work for our good and for the good of the community. And help us be good stewards of positive change to benefit the City of Oldsmar. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. The next item on our agenda is our open forum. Each speaker will be recognized once and limited to a 5-minute presentation on any subject that is not a public hearing. We do have 2 public hearings tonight, item 15 and item 16. If you have comments on those, please save them until those agenda items are called. Please give your name and address, as we do not assume that you live in Oldsmar. Is there anyone on this side of the room that would like to address the council? Okay, anyone on this side of the room like to address the council? Hello, Ms. Jessica Villafana.
Yes, hi, I am Jessica Villafana. I live at 407 Tangerine Drive in Oldsmar. Let me move the microphone down a little bit. Actually, I just came tonight really briefly to say a thank you to the Parks and Rec Department for opening the State Street Center on the day before Super Bowl when they helped the Women's Club with our super party. We had an awesome turnout, over 92 guests. We raised over $2,000 that will be going back into the community for various Oldsmar initiatives. I think we're going to be voting in March where the money's going to be going, but definitely the money's going to Oldsmar charities. So I wanted to say a thank you again to the Parks and Rec folk. They made the room look so nice, and just, we couldn't have asked for just a more perfect setting space. So again, a warm thank you for that. And I also wanted to announce on this forum that I have declared my candidacy for seat 3 for the special election in August. And I'll be working on that, and we'll see how that goes. So thank you again for your time, and have a good meeting.
Thank you so much. Anyone else on this side of the room wish to address the council? Ms. Stevens?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for leading the team last time.
You're welcome.
Hope everyone had a good, long weekend. The Valentine's Initiative from Operations Jack's Village and Life as a Donation was a huge success across all 3 of our schools. All the kids were so excited to receive them, and I just really want to thank you for letting me share that story. It's so meaningful to me. And thank you to all the volunteers that helped sign all the Valentines and deliver them with me. The butterfly mural at Sheffield Park is absolutely looking amazing. I don't know if anyone's gone by there yet, but I've gone by on my bike a couple of times this past weekend. It is so beautiful. The original artist, Noelle, she started this 8 years ago. She came back to help restore it, so she's doing that and helping our public art advisory board, so they're all there helping do that. So I just want to give a big thank you out to them, so definitely check out and see it sometime. The beach cleanup at Mobley Beach Bayou was also a great success. My family and I went out there, and our kids had such a great time. My daughter, my youngest, she was the best at cleaning up, so she loves cleaning up. So it was good to have her learn this at an early age. So thank you for that. And Jim Mascareas, right there, he is our new public Parks and Recreation alternate advisory board member. So I ask that you please appoint him tonight. He's going to bring so much enthusiasm to the board and so many thoughtful ideas. So I'm really excited to have him on board. So lastly, laissez bien tout rouler. Look at the good times roll, and happy Mardi Gras, y'all.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we will close the open forum. The next item on our agenda is our community minute, which will be read by our Deputy City Clerk, Jenny Masinowski.
Thank you, Mayor. Spray Park opening will be on March 2nd at the Cypress Sports Spray Park. Daylight savings starts on Sunday, March 8th. And annual Armadillo Run is coming up on March 14th at 7 a.m. at the City Hall lot. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Jenny. The next item on our agenda is approval of addition of new agenda items. These items are 3, 7, 8, and 14. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Sensing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We don't yet have awards and recognition. No items under this Community Redevelopment Agency. And next we have our consent docket, which will be read by our Deputy City Clerk, Jenny Vasanowski.
Item 1, consider approval of minutes of February 3rd council meeting. Item 2, consider approval of minutes of January 27 work session meeting. Item 3, consider approving payment to legal counsel for January 26 legal services. Item 4, consider appointing Jim Mascarenas to the alternate member vacant position on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Item 5, consider reappointment of regular member John Rockert to the Veterans Advisory Board. Item 6, consider appointment of Brian Sheehan as an alternate member to the Veterans Advisory Board. Item 7, consider the proclamation request for Tampa Bay Downs Centennial Day Proclamation. Item 8, consider the proclamation request from Tim McDonald to proclaim the month of March 2026 as Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. Item 9, consider approval of contract with Ortelis Financial Consultants for a water and wastewater system rate study to update under the pricing terms and conditions of the City of Bartow, Florida, Master Professional Services Agreement number CM 2023-2401. Item 10, consider approval to purchase budgeted uniforms for various city departments from Design Lab for fiscal year 2025-26 per the pricing terms and conditions of the Brevard County Contract B2 2537-11004. Item 11, consider the assignment and assumption of contract for 2023-013 IDB from American Ecosystems to Tigris Aquatic Services. Item 12, consider approving 2023-013 IDB Contract Amendment 2, executing the second of 4 12-month renewals for aquatic algae and weed control services with Tigris Aquatic Services. And item 13, consider approval of purchase of IT infrastructure and related services, confidential agenda item.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Does anybody wish to pull anything? Okay, I wish to pull item 4 and item 8. The chair will entertain a motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
So moved.
Second.
Here I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on these items? Sensing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 4. Jim, come on up. Oh, time's up.
I'm done.
That happened last week, too.
It certainly did. It was a wonderful
The fire
report, Jim.
alarm's going off. It's not you, Jim. I just wanted to pull this item to say hello to you and welcome
Hi.
you. This is 2 boards now?
This is the third board.
This is the third board.
Yeah, it was funny when I first applied for the boards. I applied for Parks and Rec, and I couldn't make that date because I was going on a cruise for the first time that it was happening. And I was like, oh, but I really wanted to be on that board. But God, there's other boards that are open. And then all of a sudden, all 3 have just opened up to me, which
And here we are.
God willing, but I'm ready to serve, and I love Oldsmar so much. And I was praying about it as I was walking the Oldsmar Trail the other day, and I was like, you know, like I really love this city, and what makes this city so wonderful is the people. And where do the people congregate? It's the parks. It's all of the events that take place. And when I was blessed to be able to do the Citizens Academy last year, throughout every single session, there was always someone saying, and you can apply to be on the advisory boards. So I take that as like the reason that I'm here today on all these boards is because of the amazing Citizens Academy that we had. And I'm just excited to be here. I do want to share one little thing.
Sure.
During the Citizens Academy, we had the wonderful tour of the BMX complex.
Oh, yes.
And I went home and I told my wife, I was like, I really want to try it out. Like Chip said that there's like times when like amateurs and beginners can start it. And my wife was like,
Careful.
absolutely not. You're not doing this. And so as I was like applying to be on the Parks and Rec board, I'm like, babe, if I get on this board, I need to experience that because it's part of Parks and Recreation. So now that I became on the board, my wife has agreed. So
Good.
I will get to maybe BMX one of these days, so I'm kind of excited.
There is the little Striders course next
Exactly.
to
I
the
think
big
that's
one.
probably what I'm
Maybe
gonna
try
end
that.
up doing. I'm
Maybe
probably
we
not
should-
gonna go on the big hills.
You should call Andrew Knapp and see how well he did when we were on bikes out there.
Yeah, it didn't go, and then I crashed on the snow hill. Apparently, we're not very athletic up here. So,
Totally. Neither am I, and I think that's
Jim,
why
one
my
piece of
wife
advice I
said,
did get, because I thought we were going to have to go down it one time, and one of my colleagues, her husband, races, and she goes, make sure you don't look down. And so I'm just letting you know,
wow.
keep your head
Got
up.
it.
You don't want to flip forward. So you want to
Yeah,
keep your
no.
head up so your body weight doesn't shift.
totally.
That's what she told me.
I'll keep that in mind. My
should.
goal is to go before our next Parks and Rec meet in
well, I
in
look
May,
forward
so
to
we'll
hearing
see.
an update
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
willingness to serve. The chair will entertain a motion to approve Jim Mascarenas to the alternate member vacant position on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, I'm sorry, is there any further discussion on this issue?
Nope, not for
All
me.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much, Jim. We appreciate you. Item number 8. Item number 8 is consider the proclamation request from Tim McDonald to proclaim the month of March 2026 as colorectal cancer awareness month. I pulled this item because it wasn't brought forth by a council member or an Oldsmar resident. We don't have a health department. It doesn't signal to me any connection to the city or city business. So is there any contrary thoughts on that? I did a little bit of research. Sorry.
No,
It just, I know that, okay, let me give some background. Initially, the proclamations were sort of sorted by the city clerk's office. And ones that were more appropriate, less appropriate, were just put on the agenda if the clerk's office deemed it to be so. Then there was some discord about the proclamations that were coming forward, and so we instituted a policy for all sorts of things, proclamations, council manager awards, et cetera. So the effect of that, naturally, of course, we do something, we think it's going to be well-intentioned and a great idea. The intention is now every proclamation request, as long as they go online and fill out the forms and state that they're willing to be present, it comes onto our consent agenda. So we've had this come up a couple of times now, so perhaps something to revisit, but I wanted to bring up this issue and pull it from the consent docket for any thoughts. So I would not approve this particular item, but if someone wants to make a motion, you're free to do so.
and Mayor, just to add to that, if memory serves, we've denied each one that didn't come from a resident of Oldsmar or a member of council, correct?
Or had some, like, for example, tonight, Tampa Bay Downs, there's a strong connection. to
Sure,
the
well,
city,
right,
yes.
but it's not new that we've kind of instituted where it's
Right.
got to pass the smell test. Like, we have to know what this is and
Right.
the impact. I thought it was a nice gesture,
Yeah, I mean,
but that's as far as I took it.
most of the time, my understanding of how this works is lots of nonprofits try to get proclamations from various cities, organizations, boards, which is fantastic, and then they're able to use this for fundraising efforts. They can, include our name on a list. I don't have any familiarity with Fight CRC. I certainly, personally, approve and support their mission, but as far as the city itself as an organization, it doesn't quite match up for me. So that's why I pulled this item.
I tend to agree with you, Mayor, in the sense that, like, I think back in September, we had had a discussion about one that had maybe some political issue. I pulled it with the intention to discuss later, and seems like a bigger discussion, kind of how you suggested, like, it seems like something maybe we need to revisit, because when we changed the policy, I think the intention was
To limit them down.
to more limit them as opposed to having the same conversation for everyone that doesn't come from a council member. And so maybe narrowing that scope to something very specific without some sort of relationship with the city, minus a council member signing off on it. Some more narrowed down language, I think would be helpful. Just so it's not every time, and I feel bad. I
Proclamation.
want to help.
You
peop-
get a proclamation.
I want to help people. I don't
course.
disagree with people fundraising for any type of cancer. But I do hesitate to sign our name on something with limited information and without a sponsor here to discuss that with, so.
Did we ask if there's a sponsor here?
I'm sorry?
Did we ask if there's a sponsor here?
I don't
Is there a
believe there's a
sponsor
sponsor here. It's my understanding that Mr. McDonald agreed to be present, as all proclamation recipients must agree if their proclamation is approved. That's part of the online application. They have to submit the language, their background, as you can see, it's kind of behind here, and agree that they will be present to accept it.
There's not a request for them to be present during this conversation, and I feel like maybe that's a change we might make when we narrow it, is when we're having this conversation. Well, I feel like it would be helpful to ask some questions, maybe learn more.
Right.
Give them a fair chance to say one way or the other. I don't want to invite people here just to deny their request, though, either. So, depending on how we decide to handle these.
So I think that we're beyond this particular agenda item, and we can maybe revisit that when setting the tentative agenda. But as far as this item goes, is there any motion? Okay, so we'll move on from this, and perhaps we can address that with the tentative agenda. Okay.
Okay, so there's no motion made on that. It did not move forward.
Item number 8 did not move forward. Thank you, Tom. Okay, and with that, we have item number 14, presentation of the proclamation for the Tampa Bay Downs Centennial Day. Now these folks we recognize. I agreed to handle this for Councilmember Schwager, whose voice is a little hoarse.
See what you did there.
That's funny. Did you mean that? No, Mayor, did you mean that? The pun?
Unintended.
Please make a pun about horses.
It was an unintentional pun.
I pun when I mean to, I pun when I don't. Come on up, ladies. Oh, don't be shy now. Come on, I get to read the look, yeah. Council for Oldsmar, Florida, proclamation. Whereas the city of Oldsmar proudly celebrates the historic 100th anniversary of Tampa Bay Downs, a cornerstone of our community since its grand opening on February 18th, 1926. And whereas founded as Tampa Downs by Harvey Myers and Kentucky Colonel Matt J. Wynn, the track has evolved through eras as Sunshine Park and Florida Downs to become the premier thoroughbred racing destination it is today. And whereas for a century, this Santa Anita of the South has drawn legendary athletes and visitors, from icons like Babe Ruth and Jack Dempsey to Hall of Fame jockeys like Julie Crone, shaping the unique identity and economic vitality of the Oldsmar area. And whereas under the dedicated stewardship of the Ferguson and Thayer families since 1986, the track has remained committed to excellence, family-friendly atmosphere, and the preservation of Florida's rich racing heritage. And whereas the February 18th, 2026 Centennial celebration marks 100 seasons of speed, passion, and unforgettable memories at the Oldsmar Oval, uniting generations of fans and neighbors. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Katie Gannon, on behalf of the Oldsmar City Council, do hereby proclaim February 18th, 2026 as Tampa Bay Downs Centennial Day in the city of Oldsmar, and urge all citizens to join in celebrating this remarkable milestone and wishing Tampa Bay Downs continued success for the next 100 years. Clap, y'all. I'm going to take a quick picture, and then I'd love to invite you to speak.
Very nice.
Of course, I have to make a quick plug for the Oldsmar Historical Collection over at the library, which includes a large display devoted to the history of Tampa Bay Downs. Go visit over at Oldsmar Library, please.
right. Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, council members, for this honor. We feel like we have been here. I feel like I've been here almost 100 years, but we've done, we've looked at the history. We've actually produced a book on the history of the track, and it's very interesting that when R.E. Olds built it, he did envision us as part of his city. And then I think the powers that be divided Pinellas and Hillsborough. But we still, in our heart, feel that we're part of the Oldsmar family. So we want to thank you for this closeness and appreciation, and of course, come to the track. And we will definitely go see your history exhibit. Appreciate it.
Please do, please do.
Yes, and tomorrow, come out to the track because it's a great event, as always. And we do invite all of the city council members to come out tomorrow morning as we will be dedicating a historical marker in front of the racetrack at 10:30. So we would love for you to attend as well.
How wonderful. Thank you so very much for being here and for the continued partnership with the city. We certainly appreciate y'all. To the next 100 years. That's right. Starts day after tomorrow. Thank you so much. Next item on our agenda is item 15, which would be handled by our city attorney, Mr. Tom Trask.
Thank you, Mayor. This is item number 15 on the agenda. It's a public hearing and first reading of ordinance 2026-02. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2026-02, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending section 5.1.6 yards and subsections 5.4.1.5 building site area requirements, 5.4.1.8 floor area and impervious surface requirements, 5.4.2.5 building site requirements, 5.4.2.8 floor area and impervious surface requirements, 5.4.3.5 building site requirements, 5.4.3.8 floor area and impervious surface requirements, 5.4.4.6 building site area requirements, and 5.4.4.8 floor area ratio and impervious surface requirements of Section 5.4 residential of Article 5 zoning regulations of the Land Development Code of the City of Oldsmar, and amending Section 3.3.7 accessory structures within the Town Center Residential and Town Center Boulevard districts of Article 3 Land Use and Zoning of the Town Center Development Code to provide for consistency of pool setback standards, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of ordinance 2026-02 by title only, and Tatiana is going to make a small presentation.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so much. Tatiana Childress, City of Oldsmar Planning and Redevelopment Director. I'll try to summarize this just in one slide. So this is case 2511, residential pool setbacks and lot coverage standards. So a little bit of a background. So residential pool standards are currently located in multiple sections of the Land Development Code, resulting in some zoning inconsistencies and frequent variance requests. Those requests are typically related to the setbacks and impervious surface ratios, or also known as lot coverage standards. City staff reviewed section 3.3.7, 5.1.6, 5.4, and 5.9, and recommended amendments to standardize these requirements. In this picture here, this graphic basically summarizes what those new proposed standards will be. So we're trying to reduce the rear yard setback from 10 feet to 5 feet to the pool cage, decking, or paving from the property line, and 8 feet from the edge of the pool water to the property line. Require a minimum side setback of 5 feet. Allow up to 65% ISR for pool-related areas, excluding water and including decking and paving. And permit reduced pool setbacks from the mean high water mark for the waterfront lots. with seawall, subject to engineering certification. So again, this is a request to amend the City of Oldsmar Land Development Code, Section 3.3.7, accessory structures, 5.1.6, yards, 5.4, residential, and 5.9, planned unit development. This amendment was reviewed against the three conditions outlined in the Section 3.13.2 of the Land Development Code. And first, the amendment complies with the comprehensive plan and advances the purpose of the Land Development Code. So the proposed amendments are consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan establishes the maximum allowable impervious surface area ratios for the residential development. And pool-related ISR will remain at or below the comprehensive plan threshold, ensuring compliance with the impervious surface limits that are established in the comprehensive plan. Existing established ISR for the house, driveway, detached garages, etc., will remain unchanged, so they will be up to 50% in the current R2 or whatever the zoning district dictates, so it will remain at that threshold, allowing only for the pools to exceed that 50% or whatever percentage, up to 65. So in your E1, E2, it will be up to 60% because the comprehensive plan allows up to 60%. And then reduce the setbacks will not apply to properties with designated drainage or utility easements. And we had a lot of those in Harbor Palms. As you may know, drainage easements will be not considered. The amendment will contribute to promote community welfare. So the proposed amendment will reduce variance requests, promote consistent development by establishing clear setback and ISR standards that allow responsible pool development while preserving open space and ensuring drainage review at the permitting. And the amendment will not grant a special privilege to an individual property owner, as this amendment will be applied uniformly to all applicants throughout the city. Okay, so our motion, we recommend that the City Council adopt an ordinance amending the City of Oldsmar Land Development Code, Section 3.3.7, accessory structures within the Town Center, Residential and Town Center Boulevard District. Section 5.1.6, yards, Section 5.4, residential, Section 5.9, planned unit development district. The amendment would reduce the rear setback for residential pools to 5 feet from the property line to the pool decking or pool enclosure, reduce the rear yard setback to 8 feet from the property line to the edge of the pool water, allow up to 65% impervious surface coverage. Sorry. For pool construction, excluding pool water and including decking and paving, and allow reduced pool setbacks from the mean high water mark for waterfront lots with seawall subject to the engineering criteria. And we have our staff report that we're submitting into the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here from the public who wishes to speak for or against this item? Oh, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved?
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Sensing none, Jenny, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Tatarzewski,
Yes.
Councilmember Olmsted,
Yes.
Councilmember Swager,
Yes.
Mayor Gannon.
Yes.
Ordinance 2026-02 passes on a first reading with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you so much.
All right, item number 16 is the public hearing and first reading of ordinance 2026-03. I'll read that by title as well. Ordinance 2026-03, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending subsection 15.8.3, handicap parking stall requirements of section 15.8, parking and loading requirements of Article 15, designs and construction standards of the Land Development Code of the City of Oldsmar to amend the current city code requirement for handicap parking stalls from a 15-foot width to a more standardized configuration of a 12-foot parking stall with a 5-foot access aisle. To update terminology from handicap to accessible and to reflect current and accepted standards of the Florida Building Code and the applicable requirement of the Americans with Disabilities Act, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date. This ordinance That was a reading of ordinance 2026-03 by title only. And Tatiana, you had another presentation, correct?
Yes, this one is a very brief presentation. Again, this is case CA 2510, 15.8.3 accessible parking design standards updates. This picture also summarizes pretty much what we're proposing here. So these are the current ADA standards. So you'll see that the accessible space is currently 12 feet with a 5-foot accessible aisle, and that's consistent with the Florida Building Code. It's also consistent with the Florida Department of Transportation standards, MUTCD, and it's also consistent with the ADA, American with Disabilities Act standards. So the current city requirements for accessible parking stalls include the 15-foot wide stall. So where you see the 12, that's where we require to be this 15. The accessible aisle is consistent, so it's in the current code, it is 5 feet, and it's also 12 feet as proposed to be amended. So due to numerous variance requests related to parking dimensions, staff recommends a code amendment to reduce the accessible parking stall width from 15 to 12 feet with that 5-foot accessible aisle for consistency with both the ADA and the Florida Building Code standards, and it will improve the permitting efficiency. So this amendment was reviewed against the 3 conditions outlined in section 3.13.2 of the Land Development Code. The amendment complies with the comprehensive plan and advances the purpose of the Land Development Code. So this amendment will ensure consistency with the ADA and the Florida Building Code standards, which require a minimum 12-foot accessible parking stall with a 5-foot accessible aisle. And the depth of the stall can vary by local ordinance from 20 to 18 feet, which is consistent with the current Land Development Code. The amendment will contribute to promote the community welfare, maintaining local LDC standards that exceed the ADA and Florida Building Code requirements, imposes unnecessary burden on development without providing any additional benefits, accessibility benefits. Ensuring consistency between the city's code and current ADA and Florida Building Code standards reflects best industry standards, design standards, and improves regulatory consistency by reducing the need for variances. Additionally, the amendment will reduce the unnecessary pavement, and the amendment will be applied uniformly to all applicants throughout the city. So we recommend that City Council adopt an ordinance amending Article 15 of the City of Oldsmar Land Development Code to revise Section 15.8.3 by updating accessible parking stall requirements to a 12-foot wide stall with a 5-foot access aisle, replacing the term handicapped with accessible for consistency with the Florida Building Code and the ADA requirements. We're we're submitting the staff report into the record. Thank you.
Tatiana. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to speak for or against this item? Okay, I will close the public hearing. With that, the chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item? I just wanted to say thank you, Tatiana, for tackling the previous agenda item related to pools and this related to the parking lot spaces that have been very large for a very long time. I know
Sure, thank you.
these have been on Tatiana's to-do list, which was largely detailed at the last meeting. I just really appreciate you taking the time to get to these.
Thank you. I'm excited about this too. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, Jenny, a roll call vote, please. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Tetraszewski,
Yes.
Councilmember Olmsted,
Yes.
Councilmember Swager,
Yes.
Mayor Gannon.
Yes.
Ordinance 2026-03 passes on a first reading with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, Tom. And the next agenda item, our city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Thank you, Mayor Gannon. It'll be the first time I'm giving a presentation from this spot, so bear with me. Hopefully it'll go well. If not, Ivan said he's going to help me out back there.
Got this.
So at the January 27th City Council work session, staff provided, a complete overview of proposed state property tax legislation that's currently under consideration and the potential fiscal impacts to the city. So I'm going to review some of the slides that you've already seen, and I want to do this because it's at a council meeting and not a work session, so. Oh, and it does work. The clicker works from here. So I'm going to give a quick overview of the proposed legislation. So we've got the House Joint Resolution 201, which is the complete elimination of non-school property taxes. So what does that mean? It eliminates all non-school property taxes for homesteaded properties. Property taxes from counties, cities, special districts, and water management districts would be paid only by non-homesteaded property owners. So that's businesses, rental properties, second homes. 203 is the phased-out elimination of non-school property for homesteads. This is 201, but over 10 years. 205 is senior citizen exemption, age 65 and up, and it'll exempt Florida residents over the age of 65 from paying non-school homestead property taxes. We've got 207, which assessed home value homestead exemption for non-school property tax. This creates a new homestead exemption equal to 25% of the remaining assessed value for non-school taxes. We have 209, 200,000 exemption for insured properties. So this creates an additional 200,000 homestead exemption only for properties that maintain comprehensive multi-peril insurance coverage. 211 is unlimited portability of Save Our Homes benefits. So this eliminates the current $500,000 cap on portability, which allows homeowners to transfer their entire accumulated Save Our Homes benefit to a new home, regardless of the amount. We've got 213, which is modification of limitation on property assessment increases. So this modifies the constitutional limits to replace annual property assessment caps with 3-year caps for non-school taxes, limiting homestead increases to 3% over 3 years. Currently, it's 1 year. And limiting homestead increases, non-homestead increases to 15% over 3 years, while prohibiting reductions in local law enforcement funding. And then we've got the Senate Joint Resolution 550, which is prohibition of levying ad valorem taxes on tangible personal property. So this prohibits levying the ad valorem on tangible personal property by counties, school districts, and municipalities. So what does that look like for us? We went in detail using the tool that was provided by Mike Twitty's office at the work session. And this is just a recap. So if these pass, this is what the bottom line means to us. So as we explained during the work session, this $3 million is not quite $3 million. That's rounded on the property appraiser's site. But so if 201 passes, we're looking at a revenue impact of $3 million. 205, 827,000. 207, 671,000. So this is to our general fund revenue. 209, $2 million. 211, the unlimited cap on porting the homestead is 54,000. The elimination of all tangible personal property taxes, you haven't seen a lot of that in the news. That affects us because we have a high amount of our ad valorem comes from the business community, and this is really on their equipment. So that's $1 million that would negatively impact our general fund. So these things aren't mutually exclusive, so several of them could make the ballot. And so this would be an example of if 201 and 550 hit, we would be looking at an impact of $4 million. It's really to show and demonstrate that these aren't running, they're running independently. So if the 203, the phase out, you can see every year over 10 years what this would mean to our ad valorem. And these numbers are calculated at a 4% tax growth rate. And then 213, which is capping the assessment increases over a 3-year period, you can see that this fluctuates based on where you are in that 3rd-year period. So you can see in year 1 is 310,000, in year 2 it jumps to 640, and then back then it comes back down and it's at 130 to 480 So you can see how that is cumulative over that time period. So what will that do to our budget? These are structural impacts to the services that we provide. So we're looking at potential permanent budgetary impacts, including public safety, street maintenance, parks and recreation, library services, general government services. So across the board, those are the services that are provided by general fund funding. So, you know, this agenda item is put on here for you all to formally consider options and to give me guidance on to where to go from here. So you have a few options that I thought that you could implement. So let's talk about some of those. So there's 4 options. There's that are clear options, right? Option A is to reduce our service levels to a new funding amount. Option B is to optimize our revenue. Option C is a combination approach of option A and option B. And then option D is to do nothing and to wait for clarity. So I'm going to talk about each of those again. So option A is to reduce service levels to accommodate reduction in tax revenue. So how do we do that? This is what I would propose, the process, the methodology that we can use. This is based on your community engagement policy, right? So if you chose option A, we could do this as a process. We can ask our community to help us identify what general fund services matter the most, which outcomes matter most, safety, reliability, quality of life, where the trade-offs are acceptable and where they're not. Impacts or concerns that staff may not see when we're proposing these. And then some of the engagement methods could include, you know, some sort of community priority survey that could be online, some public workshops, you know, some other online tools. And to use a combination of those approaches. Some people want to come to, you know, a community workshop, and some people just want to fill out something on their phones. So we'd also at the same time, you know, assess our risk and community impact. So we have service data, and so using that service data and the community input, we can evaluate the social impact. Who is this going to affect if we eliminate this program, right? And what is the operational impact? How much money would we realize if we weren't going to do X? What does that equate to and why? And we would present all of this back to City Council during the budget work sessions for not this next year, but the year after. So any of the ballot measures would come to affect our budgets in FY28. So that's not our upcoming budget in October, but the following year. So any policy decisions would be made, you know, transparently in public meetings. So public input data presented to you all. Option B is to look at revenue. As you all know, we've been looking at revenue pretty consistently over the last 4 years. We've been raising fees across the board. But there's still some fees that we want to keep looking at. One is, you know, permit and review, planning, right-of-way permits for development, review fees to cover the cost of processing and compliance. Parks and recreation fees, we've been raising them slightly, but you know, program class, facility rentals, summer camp, you know, to raise all those fees to cover a greater cost recovery of what they're going to cost. And then another one is library program fees. We've never charged for those before. Then option B, in addition to fees, is that we have the ability to levy special assessments. So these are service-based and they're non-ad valorem. So they would show up on your trim notice as a non-ad valorem fee right under your ad valorem taxes. So that's where it comes in your trim notice. Some of the things that we can assess for are fire services assessment. The Florida statutes allows us to do that. There's 175 jurisdictions that do it currently. So that supports fire and emergency services citywide. Another smaller one is a street lighting assessment. We have, as you all know, we spend $400,000 a year in street lighting, and most of that is on State Street and St. Pete Drive and 580. We could assess that to the neighboring property owners. It's possible to do that. So how do we do special assessments, right? Any special assessment requires a formal process to ensure fairness, legality, and transparency. So we have to define the service or improvement being funded. We have to identify the properties that directly benefit. We have to determine a fair method to apportion the cost. We prepare technical and legal analysis. We provide public notice and hold public hearings. We allow for public review and comment, and then City Council approves those in a public meeting. So this is any sort of assessment, whether it's fire, lighting, infrastructure. Some cities will assess neighboring property owners for roadways, for instance, and any other special assessments. Fire assessments are additional complexity. So fire protection assessments are typically more complex because they fund an ongoing citywide essential service. So these additional steps would include retaining an independent consultant with fire assessment expertise. And that consultant can give you recommendations. There's 2 different standard methodologies that they're using to assess fire. One is a demand load calculation, and one is about having a fire department readiness for response. So they would give recommendations to proceed. So conducting a detailed cost of service and call load analysis, evaluating benefit by property type and use, testing the methodology for legal defensibility, modeling affordability, and impact to property classes. So we would have to retain an outside consultant to help us with that. All of that's going to take a lot of time, right? So to do option A, to do targeted specific community engagement, takes us a long time, right? We have to get all the materials ready, we have to advertise. So to do it well, takes us a lot of lead time. A fire assessment, it could take a year to get that on board, right? To look at it. We have to procure a consultant. So as you know, that takes us several months to procure a consultant, interview consulting firms, get something on the agenda to approve it, and then giving them notice to proceed. These are just processes that need time. So option C is a balanced approach. You know, you can look at service adjustments and revenue optimization. So again, we can run those things concurrently. So we can look at something like a fire assessment fee and start to talk to our community about level of service, you know, at the same time. And then option D is to do nothing at this point. We can wait it out. DeSantis has said that he's going to call a special session in April. We don't know what's going to happen. But regardless of you know, whether or not something goes to a ballot or not, you know, looking at revenue diversification is important to us. So trying to explore, you know, whether or not our level of service is at the right place for our community, and you know, looking at diversification of revenue may make some sense. And so, but you have option D is to do nothing. And this isn't a recommendation from me on any of these options. So I want you guys to know that I'm just trying to explain what your options are. And then just to review, option A is to you know, talk to the community to reduce our service levels. Option B is to optimize revenue. Option C is a combo, and option D is to do nothing, wait for clarity. So I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the city manager?
Just a general question, forgive my vocals this evening. On the fire assessment studies, have you reviewed any from other municipalities, and are they public record that we could possibly review? And then the second part to that is, say we hire a consultant to perform the study and we decide not to implement the fire assessment, we could still use that data in future budgeting years. I mean, it may not be as applicable as time passes, but still valuable. It wouldn't be a waste, I guess, is my question or point.
Right, so, you know, whether or not it's a waste is subjective, but certainly we'll be collecting data through a third party that could be useful. I have reviewed and collected some of the studies already. There's about 4 or 5 firms that do this kind of work, so I wanted to review their studies so that we had them in the process of selecting a consultant.
Okay, and then one last question on that. Do you know the procurement timeline? Let's say we asked you to submit for a bid or estimates. By the time money's due for them to start, do you know the timeline from start to finish? Because of the special session in April, say, you know, next meeting, we say, yes, let's do this, and then it dies, and then we don't really need it, I guess. I don't want to put money aside for a study that we may end up not needing.
So the answer is it depends. So it depends on if one of these firms that regularly does this business already has a contract that we can procure basically a piggyback off of, that's faster. If we have to go out and put out an RFP and ask for proposals, then that'll take us several months.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions for the city manager?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay. Then I'd like to have some discussion on this, of course. There was some initial discussion during our work session, but I would like to hear from everybody as to how they're feeling about this item. This is a consult item, but of course, that does not preclude us from adding anything to the tentative agenda to direct the city manager to take or not take any specific action. So you sound ready to speak, Vice Mayor.
No, just,
I start
well,
with you?
we did speak about it at the work session, and I thought at that time, and continue to think, that option C is the best, and because we'd want to see what under option A might work, and what under option B might work, what might not work. But having that combination, doing nothing was a non-starter for me. But if I understand correctly, to piggyback off what Councilmember Swager just said, it would be fiscal year 28, so the special session in April, these impacts wouldn't occur until fiscal year 2028, is that correct?
That's correct.
So we would have time between now and then. So if there is a procurement process, there is enough time to get that information, if I'm correct. Right?
It would be a very compressed schedule. So you also, because we already our budgets are already, you know, wrapped up by now. Our capital budget's already, it's getting there. You have your first public, your work session in May for the capital, so it's not just wait until we have to know pretty much now. Well, we'd have to know December of 27.
Okay.
To get the budget process ready. Also, there are other cities now looking for fire assessment consultants. So just so you know that too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And there's how many? 4?
There's 175.
How many of these companies do this?
There's about 4 or 5 that are qualified, that have been doing these regularly.
Okay, I mean, that gives more of a timeline at least, but I'm still, in terms of the options, like I said, I think we move forward with C.
Option C. Councilmember Tartaseski?
I agree with that. I think option C makes the most sense. I think that if these bills go through, without a doubt, we're going to have to look at some possible cuts from option A. So I'd like to be as informed as possible before doing that. And I'd like to engage the public in those decisions as well as part of our transparency priorities. I think it's going to be extremely important to find out from the public what's most important to them. So I don't want to not select option A. I also think that option B is extremely important, especially the fire assessment. I don't want any cuts to our fire services, and I think even if these bills don't make it anywhere, looking at a fire assessment might be a wise decision for the city anyway, considering that we've not raised taxes in, I think, maybe 18 years now. So at some point, we're gonna hit a line where our services are gonna go down because of inflation. I think it's already started to happen. The city's done a great job at trying to lessen the feel of that and be really fiscally conservative and using those dollars really well where the citizens will notice it. We're seeing it in our budget work sessions already, and I think having that information, I think it's worth the money to have the information on what that fire assessment looks like for our city, and I hesitate to wait on it because I do think as more cities start to approach these companies, that price is gonna start to go up for just procuring them to do the assessment. So if you've got 15 cities looking for you to do this as a priority before the end of the year, which one's gonna bid the highest, you know? So I vote for option C.
Okay. Councilmember Olmsted?
Yeah, so I would say option C as well. I think it's a matter of preparation. Like, we're not engaging anything directly, we're not doing anything, we're just preparing ourselves for what's coming. And reviewing revenue and reviewing expenses is always a good idea. So I think option C makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
Councilmember Swager?
C.
I don't want to tax your voice, but if we've encompassed what you're feeling. Okay. I tend to agree with option C as well, for multiple reasons. I think first, just engaging in option A, it should happen no matter what, right? I don't think people understand, for example, do you like having, the Touch a Truck event? Were you aware that Touch a Truck costs the city about $10,000? Are you okay with that? Is that an event that you want to see the city continue having? What about $6,000 for the snow slide at Winter Wonderland? Is that where you want the city spending its money? Even right down to the charitable donation requests or, whatever it is, I think it's great to inform the public the actual cost. I always forget, we pay our own TICO bill and we pay for insurance and we pay for gas in all of our vehicles. There's a lot of information that could be conveyed. A lot of it is conveyed through things like Citizens Academy, but anytime we have an opportunity to let folks know, what things cost and find out what they want us to spend their tax dollars on is a good idea. Second, the revenue optimization. I am particularly interested in the firefighter assessment fee, the fire assessment fee. And there are multiple reasons, whether we look at last year or this year's pensions, we look at, increasing personnel costs. That's no secret. Same thing for equipment. It's just a large personnel services costs in addition to the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. But we have an opportunity here to take advantage of this environment and find out, if this is possible for our city. I have no illusions that these bills, the ones we saw, listed here in this presentation, are the end of it. I mean, there's no reason that these same things won't come back next session if everything dies. I think there are certainly legislators that are interested in reducing or eliminating property taxes. And that's a very scary thing for municipalities such as us. And the tangible property tax, as the city manager mentioned, is a big deal. We have some incredibly high-tech companies just north of Tampa Road that have, as some of us have seen during various business visits or tours, is incredible technology and equipment that costs a lot of money, and we get taxed. We took a huge hit when Nielsen left, and they took all those computers out of that building. I think it was 3% that year we lost on TPP. Anyway, the point is, all of this needs to be done anyway. I think that we've been doing a great job on that shoestring each year, but all of this needs to be examined anyway. So I would not only be in favor of option C, but it would be my intention to add to the tentative agenda to request that the city attorney immediately take action to figure out how we can best, obtain input from our residents for option A. Put together surveys, maybe some workshops. I know not everybody's on social media, not everybody has a computer, but to figure out the best way that we can collect that information from our citizens. And then as far as special assessments, I would be in favor of putting on the agenda something along the lines of, authorize the city manager to do an RFP, or wait, would it be RFP? For one of these very few companies in order to get this process going. I think delaying is a mistake, not only because of the compressed timeline we're facing where we might see some impact, but I think it's also a mistake because we've already felt the impact of increasing expenses. And I don't think anybody in this community wants to sacrifice. I would be shocked if anybody in this community wanted to sacrifice the services of our fire rescue team. I mean, it's something that we need to do to ensure the future of that particular department and our ability to make sure that we have quality equipment, staff, everything to move forward with that. So with that, if there's not any other discussion, I feel like we have adequately consulted. All right? Good? Everybody feel good? Okay. Agenda item number 18. We will have to take down the... There we go. And she's back. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said agenda item 18. It's okay if you...
No, no,
It's
yeah.
okay.
So agenda item number 18 is consideration of city council priorities 26, 27, and 27, 28. And so at the January 27, 2026 work session, the city council discussed priorities for FY 27 and FY 28. The following priorities were discussed as possible priorities for FY 27 and FY 28. Maintain existing infrastructure, sustain community engagement, pursue further development of downtown corridor, enhance roadway safety for all modalities, execute future infrastructure needs as determined by master planning.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I know you were reeling from everything I just said, and then I said 18 without giving you a second. So again, this is consult. I kind of like the word sustain. Thank you, Tom O'Shea. Does anybody have any further discussion on these priorities as listed?
But there is a recommended motion.
I'm sorry?
There's a recommended motion.
There is a recommended motion to approve these council priorities.
I will make that motion.
I thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? We like sustain?
You're okay with sustain?
I'm okay with sustain. I saw sustain, I was like, yes.
Okay. I don't have a strong opinion on that. I did have other suggestions written down in case we wanted to talk about it, but I'm also okay with putting this to bed and moving on with engaging the community.
In the spirit of compromise. Although I don't know if we were compromising internally or externally. It
Right.
felt- yeah. All right, and I have a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, the chair will entertain a motion. I'm sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have priorities and a lot to do, city manager. Whew. Our city clerk.
We have one more on the city council.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Forgot to ask Jenny if she had any items. And the last item, request to excuse the absence of Mayor Katie Gannon from the February 3rd, 2026 council meeting. I am here to inform all of you that COVID-19 is still a thing.
Oh, no.
Wash
Thanks for
your
keeping the
hands.
dream alive, Mayor.
Wash your hands.
Yeah.
It is a thing. It is a 2-week thing. There is no Tamiflu. And Paxlovid, by the way, is $1,500. So, yeah, not a thing. You just have to suffer through it. I was down for the count, taking naps every day. Shockingly, my children did not get it. I have no idea where I got it, perhaps at the Oldsmar Elementary Town Hall meeting. I don't know, we shook a lot of hands. You're sick now, but hopefully you don't have COVID. In any event, I appreciate you putting it on the tentative agenda and hope that you all excuse my absence. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion about COVID-19?
Glad you're better.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, council comments. Councilman Swager, you want to
Thank you, Mayor.
whisper a few?
Yeah, short and sweet.
Yeah.
Just wanted to share just a quick sentiment and shout out to Joan and David Wallace for starting Oldsmar Cares. I had a moment of reflection at the Oldsmar Cares Gala. Actually, funny story, when I was a kid growing up here in Oldsmar, my buddy Justin Bosker lived on the water, and they were neighbors to the Wallaces, and we used to jump off of their dock going swimming in the bay. And it just kind of hit me as I was sitting there at the event, just remembering, being a kid and, how like the impact that they have had on the community with Oldsmar Cares, and just the reason why we were there. It was just, like I said, a moment of reflection, and I was just humbly grateful to just be sitting here and being at the gala. It was just a great time, so I just wanted to share that. So,
Thank you. Hope you feel better soon.
yes, thanks.
Councilmember Olmsted?
Yeah, so I also very much enjoyed the gala. It was a lot of fun. It was good times and for a very good cause, so that was amazing. I also went to the Super Bowl. That was great. Lots of great soup this year and lots of people. It was packed. I was there for a little bit, and it was packed for the entire time I was there. I was really, really impressed. So good work, you guys. And then I also visited the Saturday market this week, and there's a new produce vendor in town. So Top of the Bay Produce, I think is, so they started their first week this week, and we're looking forward to seeing that they have actually a produce stand.
Like
Imminent.
Yeah, it's
So I
amazing.
can't wait to see it. Apparently there was a little problem this week, but stay tuned.
We got our giant carrots and broccoli this past weekend.
Did you?
Oh,
Yeah, by the
Oh,
time
yeah.
I got there at probably 1
Oh,
o'clock.
the carrots were gone. by-
Everything was gone.
Yeah, no,
I mean, they were
gone.
cleaned out by the time I got there, so
10:30.
get there early.
Yeah, 10:30, the carrots were already gone.
Yeah, no, I got there at 1, so I was, it was like,
carrots
forget
are so
it.
I know.
I know. And I know your son loves the carrots.
Indeed. And then the folks who were running the plants, they actually purchased the other two.
Oh,
Seemed like
did
There were
they?
only 3 giant carrots. But anyway,
Yeah, there
I
was a whole
digress.
plant, there was a whole farm in there. It was great this
it was
week.
unbelievable.
It gets bigger and bigger. I like it.
I digress. Thank you. Were you finished?
Yeah, I'm finished.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Tadasescu.
Sorry, I'm finishing taking some notes for
No worries.
later for our agenda. So I also attended the Oldsmar Cares Gala. It was fantastic. I think this was the funnest year that I've been to. I've been going for the past 7-8 years. And I love the venue. It was at Pat Beat Farm, so it was a little bit of a change. And so they changed the theme a little, something a little more comfortable, less gala-y. The food was great. They had line dancing, which, Mayor, you participated with me as well,
did.
was fun.
I did. I
don't
learned to
think
line dance.
Either of us were very good at it, but we.
Hey.
Well,
whoa,
sorry,
whoa.
I'll speak for myself, sorry. Listen, it's harder than it looks. She was giving us step-by-step
It
instructions,
is
and so she
hard.
went through all the steps, but like once, and then she's like, all right, let's do it, and turn the
There
music
is
on.
a
And
video
so
out there, you know. There
I
is a
did
video.
see a couple of videos. There's also some sort of crazy photo of me like going like this. I was having fun. It was the end of the night. I was enjoying myself, so
It
that was
was
great,
hard.
and it was fantastic to support our community. Oldsmar Cares does a great job supporting the most vulnerable people in our community, and mostly through volunteers, so they do a great job. I also, this past week, went to my first meeting at the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council. So that was really cool. I didn't know a lot about it when I volunteered to take it over for Member Knapp. But I was so excited to be there once I started to like figure out what it actually was and research about it beforehand. But then when I got there, they were very welcoming. I wasn't the only new person, so that was nice. There was another council member from Dunedin who was their first time there as well, who happened to also went to fire ops with me last year. So that was kind of nice. We were trying to figure out how we knew each other. So they were very welcoming. They tried to get me to join another committee while I was there. They're like, don't you want to stay for lunch in the next committee for 2 hours? And I was like, I cannot commit to this for today. I need to learn more. It's my first meeting. But they did give a couple updates, one of which they gave a big presentation on Project Phoenix. If you've never heard of Project Phoenix, they did this a couple years ago where it was a simulation of a worst-case scenario, Cat 5 hitting Tampa Bay area. And, yeah, very scary. But with the latest hurricanes, very hit close to home. I got like goosebumps as they were presenting on some of the stuff they have. They're working on Project Phoenix 2.0, which is focusing on small businesses. They estimate that if a Cat 5 hit the Tampa Bay area, only 40% of our small businesses would survive that. Yeah, that just gave me like chills. Now, we have a lot of small businesses in Oldsmar, and so they're doing a lot of work. They're going to do some tabletop experiences with different municipalities, finding out what different players need to gather information, and then they're going to do a campaign advising and informing those small businesses on how to prepare themselves. So things like backing up all your files, making sure that you have proper flood insurance that's actually going to cover your needs if something happens. So things that some of our mom and pop businesses that maybe don't have a strong education behind, they're going to try to help inform our small businesses, try to preserve that if something does happen. So I thought that was really cool. They did invite me to the Regional Resiliency Summit that's coming up in May. They said that that is free for me to attend if I'd like. Yeah. So I will be talking to our city manager about that, seeing if that's something we want to do. They are also watching the upcoming bills and legislation on property tax. It will affect all of the municipalities that are on the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council as well. So it's a concern for them in that they don't know if this happens, if they will still exist. And so they are doing their best to help inform the public, much as we are. They did express that they want to help us as much as possible with that public education. If there's any kind of collaboration we want to do, they're more than willing to share posts from us, help collaborate and create the ideas, do some of the legwork for us if we want to do some education initiatives. They were very friendly and said, basically, whatever you need, this affects us all, so let us know. So I have some contacts to share with our city manager as well to see maybe some ways we can work together just to get the information out to the public. And there is some legislation coming up, some rumbles about looking at reducing the number of counties in Florida. So consolidating counties, which is really, you said it, it's really scary. A lot of our counties are very diverse, and so the idea of taking the county in which we reside and lumping it with something that's much more rural and less different priorities for the county would make it very difficult for the county to manage those funds and balance those priorities. And so they're keeping an eye on that as well. So there'll be more details on that. And that's all I got for tonight.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I don't have much. Glad to see the spray parks reopening. That means
Yes,
warmer
March
weather is finally upon us.
2nd, yeah.
I'm glad all of you had fun at the Oldsmar Cares Gala.
I heard you had a babysitting snafu.
I had a babysitting snafu. My wife was dressed, and so my wife got to go, and I stayed home, parenting. But Mayor, I did hear you had some, like, you were an amazing line dancer. They had line dancing there and you were great at it. I did hear that.
I tried to get all of the city table to go line dance, and Councilmember
Couple of us
Tedeschi and Councilman Swager.
I was on the outside.
Hey, you still came, man. It was a little, it was a little nerve-wracking, but we did our best.
I'm guessing my wife told you no.
Absolutely not.
That's-
Yeah, she said, no,
She's
no.
not getting up there. Okay. It's always a great event. I do like going, but no, there was family issues, and so
Thank you for sending her as your representative.
she was, yes, my proxy. But that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry I wasn't here at the last meeting, which just means I have more stuff to say. I mean, I'm sure you guys are really excited about that. A couple things. The Oldsmar Cares Gala, as everybody has mentioned, was fantastic. I don't have any numbers, but I sure hope they raised a bundle. It was a fantastic event. I did like the new theme, and the location was wonderful. The food was fantastic. Wow, what a warm welcome to Q Barbecue. They came up with 2 awards that night for both their food and favorite overall. So if you haven't tried that barbecue right behind Thornton's at Forest Lakes, everything's behind Thornton's, at Forest Lakes, it's absolutely fantastic. The brisket is unbelievable, but fabulous event. A couple other things. Councilman Swager mentioned the meeting that was held at Oldsmar Elementary School regarding K through 8 at the last meeting. Thank you so much for giving everybody that update. The vote on that by the school board will take place at the February 24th meeting next week. So if you have feedback or questions or want to express, concerns, what have you, you can certainly attend the school board meeting. You can also email board@pcsb.org. That's B-O-R-A-D. B-O-A-R-D. Look up how to spell board. Getting a little slap happy up here. Or you can email super, that's S-U-P-E-R for superintendent, @pcsb.org if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about that. I wanted to thank Jordan for the incredible presentation about the strategic dashboard. A lot of questions, and hopefully we can use it to illustrate to the public the things that we do spend money on and our progress on those various things. That was fantastic. I appreciated her presentation. I think that the council, I just wanted to briefly share, I think that, the food truck issue, it does need to kind of sit still right now. We don't know where we're at financially. I agreed with Vice Mayor's, comments that were made, that, we welcome them and like having them here under the code as it currently stands, but until we can either find the money or some additional ROI for the city on that, I think we got to hold tight. I'd rather spend the money on, procuring a organization that can help us with the fire assessment fee or whatever public outreach we need to do for option A, for dealing with the property tax bills. Okay, separately, I wanted to give a quick update. TDC meeting, the beach renourishment has finished down along the beaches, all the way from Clearwater down to Gulfport. The Johns Pass dredging project will now begin, which is that little kind of sandbar area on the north side of Johns Pass. They also added beach park facilities, which, to be fair, I was kind of against adding beach park facilities as a potential applicant for TDC dollars, just because, beach park facilities. Okay, so for example, Fort DeSoto has the ability, you can rent a camping location and stay there. That's, providing the heads and beds, right? So they're contributing to TDC. So then adding them allows them to apply to the county for dollars to refurbish, say, the bathrooms at Fort DeSoto Park. Okay, well, I got some beach park facilities over at Mobley Bayou, right? But we can't necessarily demonstrate in the same way heads and beds that, that we're contributing. And so I had this opinion and feeling that, are we using TDC dollars to backfill what should be funded and paid for out of county dollars, not TDC dollars? So just a thought, it got added anyway. We'll see what happens in the future if there are, applications from beach park facilities to, do various capital improvement projects. We'll see what beach park facilities actually apply. I have a feeling it might be few. Also, I thought that everybody would be interested in knowing that in the last part of the year, November to December, the North County area had an influx of visitors as opposed to the South County area, which had a little dip. So, they do a survey using in-person folks who go up to people at the airport and ask, where are you coming from? What are you going to do here? Do you know anybody here? Are you visiting family? Is it for, recreation, for business, etc.? And I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, North County also includes Dunedin, Tarpon, those areas too, but we are in that group, y'all. Just good to know that we were at the top of the list. If you haven't been by State Street and St. Pete Drive, they poured the cement today for the O in the sidewalk where they're going to have the big O public art piece at the corner of the library development project. And I got to say, that is some beautiful cement right there. It looks really cool. It's already taking shape, how it's going to look on that corner. And I forgot to thank her while she was here. I wanted to thank Tatiana for her efforts to continue to ensure that construction site is tidy and appropriate, given there are lots of people coming and going on State Street and St. Pete Drive. And she has done a good job of making sure it stays that way. And lastly, I wanted to thank and congratulate the city and the Oldsmar Sports Services Alliance on nationwide recognition by, I believe it's Apolitical. We were the representative entity from Florida. Oldsmar was, Oldsmar, from Florida, on the list of 50 states and 50 innovators for our storm preparedness, including the pledge to evacuate, and then our response to the storms, including the Oldsmar Support Services Alliance, and in conjunction with our nonprofits. So, that's what 3-4 awards we've received from that, and the national recognition is pretty unbelievable. I invite you to. I think the city did a social media post on Facebook about it, and you can click on the link and view all of the other states. What their various categories were, whether it was business, climate resiliency, disaster response, or what have you. And I felt pretty good seeing us up there on that list. So well-deserved congratulations on that. I think that's all I have for right now. Shall we take it to the tentative agenda?
Yes.
Okay. So item number 21, consider approval of the tentative agenda for the March 3rd, 2026 council meeting. Does anyone wish to add anything?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to take a go at this.
Go for it.
Never done it before, so
All
bear
right.
with me. I'd like to add a discussion on changing or discussing our policies on proclamation considerations.
Okay.
I'd also like to add, consider authorizing the city manager to retain services of a consultant for the fire assessment, or for fire assessment viability for the city.
How about also advertise an RFP?
And advertise an RFP.
Can we get that? Is that in there too? She's sort of writing something down and scribbling things. I don't know. I think she
I don't know
has
the
it.
right way to phrase that, but authorize the city manager to move
Advertise
forward and.
RFP for a fire assessment fee consultant.
Fire assessment, and then also for the option A.
I think she was going to do that one next.
Oh,
Yes.
Authorize
Should
the
it be,
city manager
should be a
to-
separate or same? Separate?
it could be the same.
Okay.
Well,
Up to you all.
let's add it separate so that we're clear. Consider authorizing the city manager to, what's the right wording for this? See,
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I would go to the,
to proceed with option A and engaging the community on, and start surveys and engaging the communities on their priorities and values
for
for property taxes.
I would call it level of, to figure out the level of services.
Yes.
Via public input, however.
I told you, it's my first time. I'm
That
trying
was,
to
no,
figure
that
out
was
the
much
best
better.
way to-
That was much better than I would have done. That was good.
I'm learning.
But what are we trying to accomplish?
Implementing basically option C, but doing it in two separate agenda items so that if we need the
Understood.
fire
Are we asking
assessment fee.
Felicia to come back with ideas for implementation? We wouldn't be authorizing the city manager to do anything.
Okay,
We'd be
yeah.
requesting the city manager to
Requesting
provide,
Ideas.
provide implementation.
To obtain public input on
Implementation
reducing
plans
service
for
levels.
option A. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, I just want to make sure.
Jenny, you got that down? She's got something. She's got something.
Meaning, Councilmember Tarzaski,
I do kind of want the fire
right
assessment
in there.
fee.
The fire assessment fee, I want that separate. just-
Yeah, I want that to travel
that's important.
separately as well.
But yeah, so we'd just be requesting that information from Felicia and say, wow, those are great ideas. Or should we
Correct.
also do that? That's what we're asking for, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Anybody want to add anything else? All
I
right,
just want to make sure I got it right.
take your
So-
time. That was a
so
lot.
The first one
Sorry.
would be to approve and authorize city manager to proceed with the procurement of a consultant to study fire assessment fees.
She said it so well. Did you hear
And
that?
then-
That one was really good.
Yes.
And then the second one is, you all want to, if you want to see a strategy, like a communication strategy, I can attach that to the agenda item and you could approve that, like the methodology of community engagement. So then it would be, approve community engagement approach to determine appropriate level of service, something
Yeah,
like that?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
sounds
captures
good.
it
Just
very
so I'm
nicely.
clear, so then I'll bring back a communication and a general strategy of how we would approach it that was similar to that slide.
That would be great.
We will do
Yes.
A, B, and C.
Are you guys in agreement?
Thank you for
that
summarizing
matches?
that.
I just want to make sure I got it right.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Plan, right? It's right, just.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we all are in agreement.
Come back with a plan.
And then revisiting specifically the proclamation, the proclamation issue, which I think we all discussed earlier today too. Okay. Motion to approve the tentative agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this issue? Sensing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I got a motion and a second. This does not require a vote. We are adjourned. Thank you all. Head online to the Mardi Gras Opal Theater